Hello everybody, this is Captain Mike back with you again for a tutorial that I hope is going to be a lot of fun for everybody. It has a lot of applications, and we're going to try to cover all the basics on this and the different ways that you can do this project. But this is a project that you would want to do for kids' birthdays or parties in general or whatever. And what we're going to do is we're going to make some cupcake soap using glycerin or melt and pour soap, and we're going to color it up a little neon green. We're going to use a little fruity, smelly good fragrance that kids like. This is monkey farts. It's pineapple, banana, and coconut. It smells really good. And we're going to use some of these little embeds, which is cold process soap, but it works fine in embedding into the melt and pour. We're going to use those for fill and for color. And we're going to use these really swell little rubber ducks that I got off Amazon Prime. You can also get them from Oriental Trader. It just so happens they were the same price on Prime and didn't cost me nothing to have them shipped. And so, like everything that I do, I went wacko and bought a bunch. So today we're going to use the ones that are superheroes ducks, except for the one little surfer dude. And with that, we're going to get started. What you're going to need is a muffin pan. You're going to need some melt and pour soap. You're going to need, at a minimum, some cupcake sleeves or whatever you want to call them. And then I've got these silicone ones, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. But I'm using some liquid colorant. This is neon green. I mentioned the fragrant oil. And you'll need a swivel stick, and you'll need something to stir it all up in. And of course your Duckies. You'll have to do some experiment to find out how much soap it takes to fill up these. And you know, but it does. That's one great thing about melt and pour soap. If you melt more than you need, you can just go back and pour it back into the mold, this thing here, and it'll you know, reprocess it. You don't waste anything. So we're going to start off with 2 blocks of this stuff, and just see, it should cover most of it, I hope. And I just drop it in this and stick it in the microwave. Well, we'll stick it in the microwave in a minute after I talk a little bit more and get it melted. And I'll kind of talk about these silicone sleeves that also come off of Amazon Prime. Now, the reason that I'm going to try to use those to start with is sometimes when you pour the hot wax into these right here, the paper ones, the wax wants to stick to the paper, and it's kind of hard to peel off. Now, it's not a real big deal, and I'll eventually even take them out of the silicone ones and put them in here, because you want to reuse these. They're not super expensive, but you know, you don't want to just discard them. But hopefully that will give me an imprint that I can use to slide right on here, and then this will protect the soap and keep it clean until time to use it. Actually, I'm going to do part of them using the silicone, and I'm going to do part of them using this, and then we will experiment with which ones come loose best and which ones don't. So just for grins and giggles, we'll put 3 of these regular, and we will do 3 silicone ones. Let's mix the colors up. The colors look good. And so we'll have a nice bunch of stuff to experiment with. And then we'll go from there, and I'll explain to you what you do with the ducks and with this after we have melted the soap and get ready to pour it in there. Okay, we're out of the microwave with our melted soap. Now, if you do this in a microwave, do it in like 3-minute intervals on medium or on low. And keep an eye on it. You don't want to get this stuff just a bubbling if you can help it. You want to keep it, just melt it and keep it stirred. Another good option for melting up your soap is to use a double boiler, and it'll stay at the constant temperature while you use it. It's a good idea. I'm an impatient guy. I do everything in the microwave. So anyway, we're going to get started on this little thing, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make it pretty. And since this base already is kind of a minty green, I'm going to go ahead and make it fluorescent green. So I've got this liquid colorant here. This one is from FloridaSoapSupplies.com. And I'm just going to put some in. This is all kind of hit and miss. You don't really know how much to put. You can't do it wrong. So just do it and stir it up. Now this stuff starts to if you do it my way without the double boiler, it does start to film over and skim over, and you have to keep kind of working with it. Stir that in there good. Okay, you see we got a nice little color right there. The next thing we're going to add is the fragrance, and I got left roughly an ounce here. It's probably too much. When I come after this is all through, if it does something to this soap, I'll mention it, and I'll mention what we can cut it back. I have no idea. There's no recipe for this. I want it to smell real good, so I'm going to dump the whole doggone ounce in. I did it. Okay. Bad or good or whatever. So I've stirred it all up here. We're going to see if it affects the soap at all to put that much. I like to put as much fragrance in my soap and candles as I possibly can. The only thing I noticed right off is it made the soap base thinner, and it had a lot of bubbles, but they come to the surface. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our noodles and just put in what you think. Again, you can't go wrong. You can use embeds, you can use colored soap. You will look at my tutorial on how to make shreds and colored soap. It's a cold process, but you make it, and you make it in all kinds of neat colors, and you can shave it up and run it through the grinder, whatever you want to do. And put a little bit more in there. We're going to have a lot of soap here. I'll probably have much left over. But you can then you can add color soap to clear base, because this stuff comes in clear, it comes in white, it comes in all kinds of colors. We're keeping this kind of basic. All right, we got our soap. Here's the moment of truth. We're going to pour it into 3 silicone cups and 3 paper cups. Now I know the paper cups work because I've done this before, but we're going to just see how easy the paper comes off, and then if we can transfer the soap from the silicone to paper, and it works out and works pretty good. So you just tip her up there a little bit, pour it in. You folks that's made cupcakes before know the routine here. Be careful. You won't. Whoa! I like to overpour that one. Yeah, tell you to be careful. And I just don't pay any attention to what in the heck I'm doing. If it runs over, it's not the end of the world. But you do that. Seems like the silicone was poured a little better. It's not no big deal. Let's see, this one here needs a little adjustment. Get my tweezers here so I can kind of pull it around a little, get it up where it's kind of level. And we're going to pour a little bit more in it because we want the ducks to stir stuff up again. See, it starts to set up pretty quick. And like I said, a double boiler is a really good idea when you're doing melt and pour soap, because you can keep this stuff at a pretty good consistency. I use a microwave especially for videos because it melts this stuff down, and I don't have to wait all day for stuff to do, or multitask and remember to do something that needs to be done. So you'll pour a little bit. If it ends up being a little lumpy because of the melting, the embeds, if they're kind of messy, then you might want to mix up just a little bit of melt and pour soap in a container with nothing in it and use it for glue. Because here's what I do next. And I may have waited too long to do this, but I take my little duckies and I just skeech them down on there. Make sure they're down in there good. Just wiggle them around till you make sure that soap on the bottom. And some of these, like I said, is melting quick. You may have to redo it a little bit to get the soap up where it'll get on the bottom of the little duckies, because that's what holds them on. Just kind of poke it there a little bit, just like lava that's congealing. You get the fresh lava to come to the top. Put your little ducky in there. Some of them sit straight, some of them don't sit straight. And should you do this, and when they're all said and done, and you start to do something with them, and they come loose, melt you some more stuff, and just don't put all the embeds in it. And while it's really good and hot, then you can glue them back down. So right now, here's what we got. We got 6 ducks. 5 of them are superheroes, and 1 of them is a surfer dude. Now we're gonna let these things sit here and cool, and then we're gonna come back and kind of see what kind of work we got. How they stick to the paper. Can I get the paper off? Does it make any difference? And we'll go from there. And I think this is an absolute fun project. You can do this with your kids, children, grandchildren, because there's nothing caustic here. Soap. They can't hurt themselves except that it gets hot. And if they're old enough that you can keep them from burning their little fingers when they're pouring it, man, they can have a ball. They can make all the cupcakes they want. So anyway, let's pause the video and sit around and do something else for a little while and let these things cool real good. And I'll be back with you. These things look like they've cooled off pretty good. Cooled off, set up, whatever you want to call it. And so we have us a tray of rubber ducky soap. Now, I started on this one just to see how it was going to work. This is one that has the regular paper cupcake holder on it. And as you can see, when you go to pull it off, now this is, I don't know how it'll do after it sits for a while. Maybe worse than it is here. And there may be better quality cups. These are super cheap and old. My wife has had them in the cupboard for quite a while. I think there are some heavier duty cupcake cups, and my advice to you would be do a little research there and see if you can find that, maybe some tinfoil ones or something that will, that are disposable, but yet will come off. But as you can see, the soap here has caused this particular one to come off in shreds. Now, it's not a big deal. You give it to the young'uns, and when they decide to get in the bathtub with it, you pull it off as best you can. It's not the first time you've had to do something like that. They're going to be sitting there screaming, I want my ducky, I want my soap, I want my ducky, and just tell them to shut the heck up. You'll get it to them when you're through. And you sit there and you peel off as much of it as you can. You get the idea. And then you give them this, and of course they put it in the water, and it won't take very long whatsoever for the duck to come off, and then they can play with the duck. The soap, of course, after they get through it the first time, you can set it up, it'll dry, and you can use it again, but they won't be interested in it without a duck on it. But it's just melt and pour soap. If you leave it in the water, it's going to turn to mush. I consider it kind of like a one-time shot just for the young'uns. But now, hey, your mileage may vary. Now, here's the one that I did. We'll just pull one of these off. Here's a one that's in the silicone. Okay? Now, this is not the way, if you were doing it for your kids, fine, you could save these. Boom. But if you're going to sell them or give them away, you don't want to give them the little silicone. But you see, that pops off nice. And then you get you a little cupcake thing, and you stick it on there. You can stick it back in here for a while. Maybe it'll kind of adhere to it enough to be neat. But my thoughts kind of were to put them in these, get a piece of saran wrap or something, or cellophane, something, and come up over the top. This is for gifts now, mind you. This is for gifts. You come back over the top and with the cellophane or whatever clear stuff you got and tie a little ribbon on it. And it'll hold the little cupcake thing. If you can't get better quality cupcake cups, you could do that. And then you give it to them and they unwrap it and that falls off and everybody's just really happy. I mean, you know, happiness is what we're all about. But now these things work neat. Camera's getting all messed up here. These things here work neat. They're great. I suggest you, if you want to play with this, get on Amazon Prime, order you up a dozen of them, however they come, in assorted colors, you know, and use those. And I suggest that you look for some better quality cupcake things. Like I said, this is what I got. I just got this to do the tutorial. But I think it's neat. I think that the whole concept, regardless of what you do with it, is neat. You know, the kids are going to love it. At one time, when I was doing a lot of arts and craft shows and I was selling soap and candles, I sold a lot of these. So, you know, it's a fad thing, and after a while, everybody was saturated with Ducky soaps. But hey, go on Amazon Prime or Horizontal Freighter. Get yourself a gazillion ducks. They're cheap. They have specials all the time. You can get them all kinds of duckies. I don't care. You got a ducky theme, they got a duck for you. And then if you want to do the little cupcake things, simple. Easy peasy with melt and pour glycerin soap, a little fragrance, a little color. Slap it on there. You cannot go wrong. So I hope this was a good video for you. I kind of think it's neat. I think it's something you can do with the kids and grandkids, and you can sell. Like I said, I sold a lot of them. So anyway, this is Captain Mike, and I appreciate y'all looking at my video. Thank you.